It's now truly my great honor to introduce our main speaker, U.S. Congressman John Lewis. It's no exaggeration to say that Congressman Lewis is one of the truly iconic figures in our national struggle for civil rights. It's impossible for me to do justice in this brief introduction to his career, his character, and his legacy. But let me share with you some highlights of his great story. Lewis grew up on his family's farm and attended segregated public schools in Pike County, Alabama. As a young boy, he was inspired by the activism surrounding the Montgomery bus boycott, in the words of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., a figure we are proud to honor in the name of our own King Hall. As a student at Fisk University, Lewis was committed and courageous as an activist. He participated in the freedom rides opposing bus segregation across the South, and he challenged the injustice of Jim Crow in the South, for which he was beaten by angry mobs and arrested by police. He also served as chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, SNCC, which he helped form. By 1963, at the advanced age of 23, Lewis was recognized as one of the big six leaders of the civil rights movement. He was an architect and a keynote speaker at the historic March on Washington in August of that year. On March 7, 1965, he and Hosea Williams led a voting rights march of more than 600 peaceful protesters across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. As a result of the brutal attacks they suffered at the hands of Alabama state troops, that day is now known as Bloody Sunday. But through all of the arrests and beatings, Lewis remained a devoted advocate of the philosophy of nonviolence. After those early years, Lewis continued his efforts on behalf of the civil rights movement in numerous influential capacities. In 1977, he was appointed by President Jimmy Carter to direct more than 250,000 volunteers of Action, the federal volunteer agency. And in 1981, he was elected to the Atlanta City Council. In 1986, he was elected to Congress and has served as U.S. Representative of Georgia's 5th Congressional District since then. For his extraordinary commitment and contributions to social justice, Lewis has received more than 50 honorary degrees from prestigious colleges and universities, as well as many awards from eminent national and international institutions. In 2011, he was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom by President Barack Obama. Let me end with the words of others. Lewis has been called the conscience of the U.S. Congress and has said, and Roll Call magazine has said, John Lewis is a genuine American hero and moral leader who commands widespread respect in the chamber. Please join me in warmly welcoming Congressman John Lewis.
Thank you very much, Chancellor, Acting Chancellor Hector, Dean Johnson, distinguished faculty, guests, parents, family, and friends, and to the class of 2016, I'm honored, delighted to be with you on this very special and important occasion. To each and every one of you receiving a degree today, congratulations. Wish you well. This is your day. It is your day. Enjoy it. Take a long, very long, deep breath and take it all in. But tomorrow, you must be prepared to roll up your sleeves because the world is waiting for smart, talented men and women to lead each one of us to a better place. You can do it. and you must do it. I love to come to places like this place. There's a warm spirit here. I love to come to colleges and universities where there's so much hope, so much optimism. And I must tell you now, I'm honored to be standing here in this hall, King's Hall, to have an opportunity earlier today to view and touch the statue name and in honor of Martin Luther King Jr. If it hadn't been for Martin Luther King Jr., I wouldn't be standing here today. He helped free and liberated many of us. So Acting Chancellor and Dean, thank you for inviting me to come by. You need it now more than ever before. You must be headlights and not taillights. When I was a young student activist, sitting in and sitting down at lunch counters, on stools, in restaurants, department stores, in Nashville, Tennessee, and across the South, I endured the hostility and the danger of the Freedom Rides so we could desegregate public accommodation places across the South. During my early years in the Civil Rights Movement, and even before I got involved in the movement, I saw those signs that said, white men, colored men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. I would come home and ask my mother, my father, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, why? Ask my teachers, why? And they would say, that's the way it is. Don't get in the way. Don't get in trouble. But individuals like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks and so many others inspired me to get in trouble. I got in trouble, good trouble, necessary trouble. As young lawyers, you have a moral obligation, a mission, and a mandate to get in trouble, to get involved in helping not just to make our country, but to help make the world, to make this little planet, this little piece of real estate we call Earth, a better place for all humankind. You can do it, and you must do it. It is because of the movement for civil rights, for social justice, for women's rights, for farmers, for gay rights, for immigrants' right, that we've come a distance, but we still have a great distance to go. And you must use the law to help bring about a nonviolent revolution, a revolution of values, a revolution of ideas. You must get in the way. You must get in trouble. You heard me say I got arrested a few times? Yes, I went to jail. 40 times during the 60s, and 5 more times since I've been in Congress. And I'm probably going to get arrested again for doing something. When you see something that is not right, not fair, not just, you must stand up, speak up, and speak out. Use the law. In a country like this country, but all around the world, we have a right to know what is in the food we eat, what is in the water we drink, What is in the air we breathe? This little piece of real estate that we call Earth is not ours to abuse, to waste, but to save the planet for all humankind. If it hadn't been for the law and for lawyers, and been for music, the civil rights movement would have been like a bird without wings. Just think, a few short years ago when I was growing up, I saw the signs that said white and colored, white men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. But those signs are gone today. The only places our children and their children will see those signs will be in a book, in a museum, on a video. Just think a few short years ago, in the 11 states of the old Confederacy, from Virginia to Texas, many people could not register to vote simply because of the color of their skin. Individual was asked to count the number of bubbles on a bar of soap, the number of jelly beans on a jar. People stood in unmovable lines. But as President Barack Obama said last Saturday in delivering a commencement address at Harvard University in Washington, today we no longer have to count the number of bubbles in a bar of soap, the number of jelly beans in a jar. But there's still forces in America today that are trying to make it harder and more difficult for people to participate in the democratic process. We had lawyers then, brave and courageous men and women, like Thurgood Marshall, Fred Gray, Constable Baker Motley, and many others that got in the way. They got in trouble. Some of the lawyers were beaten and left bloody because they were defending civil rights activists. You may not get arrested. You may not be beaten. But somehow, in some way, you must use your education to go out there and push and pull. Not just in California, but all around the world where people need help. It's your calling. It is your mission. Be not afraid. Be courageous. Be bold. Now, here in America, this is an election year. I will not tell you, I wouldn't insult your intelligence to tell you how to vote and what to do. But I will tell you one thing. In a democracy, the vote is precious. It's almost sacred. It is the most powerful, nonviolent instrument or tool we have in a democratic society, and we must use it. I gave a little blood on that McPettis Bridge in Selma. I had a concussion. I thought I was going to die. I thought I saw death. But somehow, in some way, with a group of lawyers, rewrote the Voting Rights Act on that highway. The Congress passed it, and President Lyndon Johnson signed it into law. You must respond to the cries, the pains, and needs of our society. We've come a distance, we made a lot of progress, but we're not quite there yet. If we get it right here in America, maybe we can serve as a model for the rest of the world. Let me just tell you. Some people will say nothing has changed. I feel like saying, come and walk in my shoes. I will show you it's changed. Our country is a different country. Our world is a different world. But there's still too many people that have been left out and left behind in America and around the world. We got to end discrimination based on race and color or nationality, based on sexual orientation. In the final analysis, we are one people, we are one family. We all must learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or we perish as fools. I'll tell you one little story. When I was growing up outside of Troy, Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery, on a farm, I had an aunt by the name of Seneva. And my Aunt Seneva lived in what we call a shotgun house. I know as smart law students here at this great school, University of California, Davis, you don't even know what I'm talking about. You never seen a shotgun house. I was born in one. A shotgun house was an old house, one way in, one way out, in a nonviolent sense, where you can bounce a basketball through the front door and it will go straight out the back door. But one Saturday afternoon, a group of my brothers and sisters and a few of my fresh cousins were out playing in my Aunt Seneva's dirt yard, and an unbelievable storm came up. If you don't know what a shotgun house is, maybe it's an old house with a tin roof. Well, we kept playing, we played. The storm came up. My Aunt Seneva got us in. The wind started blowing, the thunder started rolling, the lightning started flashing, and the rain started beating on the tin roof of this old shotgun house. My aunt became terrified. She started crying. She thought the house was going to blow away. So she got all of us little children together and told us to hold hands. And we did as we were told. The wind continued to blow. The thunder continued to roll. The lightning continued to flash. And the rain continued to beat down on the tin roof of this old shotgun house. And we cried and we cried. And when one corner of this old house appeared to be lifting from its foundation, my aunt had us to walk to that corner to try to hold the house down with our little bodies. When the other corner appeared to be lifting, she had us to walk to that side. We were little children walking with the wind, but we never left the house. I said to you, call it the house of California. Call it the house of Georgia. Call it the house of New York. Call it the house of the Middle East, the house of Israel, the house of Africa, the house of China, the house of India. We all live in the same house. And as a people, as Dr. King would say, we must learn to live together as brothers and sisters. If not, we will perish as fools. I said to you as you leave this campus, be hopeful, be optimistic. Don't get lost in a sea of despair. Keep the faith, be happy, and go out there and work and make things better for generation unborn under the rule of law. Thank you very much and good luck.